Welcome back, League fans of the North American LCS, talking about Counter Logic Gaming taking on NRG Esports. CLG took that game one pretty quickly, but it was actually quite close, much closer than many would have expected.
Yeah, and CLG had an incredibly strong, early game, but then after that, NRG actually came back with a few good punches. But really, at the end of the day, CLG, better teamwork, better communication, better team fighting, and it made it look, by the end of the score screen, a 27-minute, 45-second victory, kind of like you would have expected before anything had happened.
Yeah, it's just weird. You skip the middle 20 minutes and you expect that to go that way. A 1 minute, 15-second first blood. They had a 2-0 start to the game under 3 minutes in, and the second wave in the lane swap, ridiculous opening, and yet the game did play out the way it did. So, NRG playing a really nice comp. I loved what they did in Champs Select. I thought they played it reasonably well, but again, you mentioned just better coordination in the team fighting. CLG were the better team in that one, but I think we do have a very close series on our hands. Now, CLG are coming back in a big way this split as it winds down, but they still are not satisfied with their early performance, and Huhi says the team has continued to focus on improvement.
So yeah, I don't really feel proud how we started to perform better, because we were at this level before, but we just became worse, and then we were trying to catch back up. So it felt pretty bad, but if you think positively, we identified another problem that we could possibly have in the future as well, so we can prevent that problem to happen again. So we learned something really valuable, and we're just trying to keep our performance to improve.
Yeah, and it's really crazy to think about how much you have to continue to push to stay at the top level.
Yeah.
Because when Huhi talks about how the team kind of became worse, that was 2 weeks after they finished second place at MSI, where they had gone through the #1 team in the LMS and played against the best teams in the world. Then they relax for 2 weeks, and suddenly they're 9-7, right? They started the season with a bunch of losses to a bunch of other teams in North America. It is so hard to be elite.
Right, and the thing is, I talked to Stixay actually after the tournament, and he's like, hey, I've been considering going back home to Arizona for a little bit during the little off time. And I was like, you probably should, because you're going to be busy for the next 3 months straight, going to Worlds and everything, assuming you qualify. I think it's worth seeing your family for a bit, and I don't think it's the vacation is the reason that they got completely screwed, but it's you are busy for the rest of this time. You've got to keep pushing hard, and the very top teams do play a ton of games and put in a ton of hours, and we are seeing the fruits of this labor for many of these teams. TSM and Immortals, for example, guaranteed to be in the top 2 heading into the playoffs, and many are very excited about those teams. CLG hoping to join that upper echelon, maybe be the 3rd team to go to Worlds.
And really, these picks and bans are somewhat mirrored. CLG with the same first 2 bans as they had on the other side. NRG more banning what had beaten them. But to kind of get back to that point, CLG are the back-to-back defending champion.
Right.
Let's be completely clear about that. They had 3/5 of that roster return for the spring split, and then technically, going into this split, they were more likely than ever to win it, because they returned their entire roster for the first time, and had also had a great showing at a major international event. So it would seem like they would have just cruised through this split. Things are never as they seem, obviously. A lot of improvement happened in North America. I think CLG did get a little bit worse at the start of the split, but they are definitely on the path to improvement. I still want to see Darshan recapture that dominant best top laner or close to best top laner in North America feel, because then I think CLG really turns the corner and has a legitimate chance of defending their championship. Until that happens, though, I think they're still sitting around 3rd place. They still have some time to get that done. Rest of the regular split, 2 weeks before the first round of playoffs, and a lot of league left to be played.
But we'll see what is going to be left here. I like the bans coming through. CLG, they get 1 meta ban, essentially. Again, kind of the energy tax, and it's the FLICKR pinching Rek'Sai as a top-tier jungler right now, saying, yeah, Sivir's up there is really important, Karma's up there is important, Malzar's off the table, so who cares about that? And I would be shocked if they didn't go for Rek'Sai here themselves. I think that makes the most sense based on their ban trends and what had been picked before by their opposing team. And then the question is, what do you put alongside it? And they've got to figure out what that's going to be.
Sivir Karma is a tremendous lane. I'm really curious to see if CLG takes 1/2 of that, since the playmaking of Bard would have been taken away from Aphromoo from the ban phase. A little bit of discussion going on here.
I think back to the CLG Immortal set, and they kind of let Karma go every single time to that squad, and They didn't seem to care too much about playing that champion. Actually changing things up, once again looking at, it is going to be the Karma, and actually not the Rek'Sai. I am actually very surprised. I feel like you ban a jungler to give Santorin the best jungler, and I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah.
When you clearly had a chance to pick this one if you wanted, Lucian was not going to go anywhere.
I definitely feel like the best jungler is up for debate as far as
accurate.
champion picks go, because if you look at various different regions, a lot of times Gragas would be first picked or banned. We've seen a lot of different picks, and technically CLG played into that matchup last game, wasn't punished by Santorin's Rek'Sai. Xmith made a bunch of plays on Gragas, so I think that would be why they'd be more likely to pick the Karma. And then when they pick the Lucian after that, they're basically just looking to counterpick everything.
Right.
Counterpick jungle, counterpick mid, counterpick top, as many counterpicks as they can get, because they've just locked in their lane, and they could even move that Karma mid if they really need to.
Yeah, and I guess the thought is actually you want him to play the Rek'Sai then and say, yeah, go ahead and go after this matchup. So Santorin saying maybe he doesn't want to do that. You'd mentioned higher priority on Gragas. That was a consideration. They've not yet locked it in. You can see they've been hesitant, and it's actually going to be the Taric to go in there, but also another Vladimir for GBM.
Taric Sivir. Obviously, Taric has undergone a lot of changes, but I've always loved those two champions together. Especially now, the Taric's done obviously a little bit less reliable, but when you pair it with Sivir, can be move sped up a little bit. Also, just Sivir does love to be able to stand still and ricochet. Sometimes you get into a little bit of trouble if there's people diving on top of her.
Right.
I think Taric still pairs very well with Sivir, even though the kit is completely different than it used to be.
I think there's a lot of fun synergies, right? Generally speaking, melee supports tend to be slightly weaker laners, while Sivir's going to auto shove the whole time, so you don't really even play a fair laning phase. Another point about this one is like, hey, you know, they both want to team fight and play big 5-on-5. So great, both those ults are great for that. In fact, the whole team, let's go. And then Sivir makes sure they can all run fast to guarantee they can get inside the circles that Taric's putting down that you're going to be turning invincible inside of. So like, little fun interactions all the way across the kit. Cassiopeia going to be the counter pick in the mid lane against this Vladimir, and in fact they will finally go for this Rek'Sai themselves. Still wanted to play the champion at some point. Maybe once they got more information, they decided this is what they actually wanted to do.
Kuhi's Cassiopeia has been one of the champions in which he's made his resurgence in the North American LCS with, so I like the fact that they're picking it here, and also I like the fact that they're picking it into a known matchup. It's pretty unlikely that Quas takes the Vladimir top, although it is still possible, but we'll know for sure by the time NRG locks in these last two picks.
Yeah, unlikely, but always an option. Here we go on the last couple of hovers here. Shout outs to Rammus, but for real though, it's going to be something else, we're pretty sure. Olaf in the jungle, that's going to be interesting if it's the case.
Would work well with the Sivir.
Yeah.
As far as running fast.
And you can be immune to the Cassiopeia scariness, and I think I've seen plenty of players say they really do like Olaf into Rek'Sai as the matchup.
This could actually just be straight up terrifying if they lock that in, because not only can you be sped up by the Sivir and immune to CC because of your ultimate, you can also be immune to damage for 2.5 seconds because of Taric. So like, that is actually terrifying.
Literally cannot interact with Olaf in any way.
Yes, for that small period of time, you can only run.
Wow. Okay, that's going to be the case, and with the Gnar top lane blind pick, the counter is actually going to be Darshan playing Gangplank. Irelia was up, he could have gone for the matchup, didn't want to, wanted to play Gangplank. I didn't think this matchup was that great for GP, but Darshan and the rest of CLG seem to think so. They lost no time in locking that in.
Yeah, Darshan with a lot of confidence in here, or they just, yeah, I think this is mainly a confidence choice right here. I'm really curious, actually, to see if Santorin switches over to Ghost, because I see very little reason for him to stay with Flash unless he thinks he's fast enough with just the Sivir, but
well, I know summoners don't update during the 60 seconds swap period for spectators, so...
I know, but I'm watching in the client right now, and he's still sitting on Flash with 4 seconds left. That sometimes you just forget.
That's true. That happens.
I'd also seen a few Flash Olafs when they're up against a Jarvan or something because they want to be able to Flash. He did switch to Ghost with like half a second remaining, but running it close.
Well, yeah, again, it doesn't update for spectators until the last second.
Oh, this spectator?
During the, like,
just
that's just how it works, actually, is if you spectate feed. You just, for 60 seconds, it doesn't update for you. But yes, he went for the Ghost. In the nick of time, maybe not, who knows, but we are getting ourselves into game 2 right now. Darshan's Gangplank coming out. You've got the scariest Olaf comp you could maybe even consider at this point. Sivir and Taric and all that. The Vladimir running fast as well. Certainly a very powerful 5-on-5 comp for NRG. It's a cohesive champ select for them, much like in the previous game. Game 1 was Poke, game 2 about the 5-on-5. Good chance for that. CLG in a similar boat, though, of course. Karma, Gangplank, Cassiopeia, no slouches in this regard.
Yeah.
But hoping for some level of lane dominance, though. Lucian, Karma being the bot lane. Like, you want to find a 2-on-2, and you want to win your lane.
Exactly. There was a small bug in the loading, so we're going to be in a quick pause. That'll hopefully be resolved very soon. But I do want to speak to the bottom lane matchup a little bit more, specifically the supports, because CLG did get a lot of success with Aphromoo. I don't want to make it a meme, but like the range supports, they were very successful.
Yes.
A lot through the laning phase and just some of the utility they were bringing later in the game. Even so much so that by the end of the tournament, SKT had completely switched off of the tank supports and played exclusively Nami against them in the final, like just going all in on the ranged metagame. Yet, as the split has progressed in LCK, if you go and tune into those LCK matchups, or even just look at the match histories, they're just back on melee support.
Trundle, Tom Kench, Alistair, Braum, every game.
Exactly, and I can't figure out whether this just gentleman's agreement that like, we like playing tank supports, this ranged thing is no longer fun, or if they've just like found these tweaks to either get around the laning weaknesses and still getting the better team compositions with the tank supports. And I always look forward to not range versus range or melee versus melee, but specifically melee versus range, because I want to see how these interact.
Yeah.
And it's probably not the greatest difference when you have a CLG team that is fairly far ahead of NRG, but still excited nonetheless to watch Kiwi Kid and OQ go up against Stix and Aphromoo.
Definitely agree.
With these champs.
And a lot of times, talking with players about how these matches play out, it's like, yeah, you're passively losing all the time until your jungler ganks, and then you've got a stun or a flash Braum Q or something that sets up the fight, and it's about making the play. You have to do something actively to turn the matchup back around, and in those realms, it now feels balanced because you have the playmaking tools, and we'll see if those tools are utilized. OQ had enough attack speed, well played. This time around, learning the ricochet and getting the auto attack reset right on time. Well played. Extra golden XP to him. Stick say this board's going to be pretty safe. And no big surprises really anywhere.
And here's another kind of interesting wrinkle in this lane situation. CLG is trying to sniff out the lane swap. We said they would want to kind of dominate with the Lucian and Karma, but do they want to dodge the top lane matchup? Does Darshan want to play against Quas? Because the ranged Mininar can bully Gangplank a little bit early and even a little bit more into the mid late game if he's mid game if he's able to get ahead. So maybe this is just one of those situations where CLG doesn't want Darshan to lane, but this is actually really interesting what's happening here.
CLG gonna walk into the 2-on-2. I believe they saw him in the brush, and yeah, Aphromoo and Stix say, you know what? Your level 1 damage is so bad, you can't really push us around right here. Lucian and Karma's gonna outtrade the Taric Sivir, so a pretty safe road in. OQ sadly missing 1 CS, but they're gonna be fine. And CLG's gonna hope that they can hit level 2 at a reasonable clip here. So NRG shoving this wave in pretty fast.
Yeah, so great start by NRG getting the shove early. Also, with the quickness in which Quas was willing to teleport down to the bottom lane to match Darshan, it seems like NRG is totally okay with playing these lanes straight up. They think they have an advantage with Quas. If there is a disadvantage with OQ and Kiwi Kid, they seem pretty confident. Sivir can split a lot of matchups if she is able to shove in the lane. And so far, at least with the early level 2, they can keep this shoved for a little bit.
And you saw right there the threat of level 2. Kiwi Kid had a Relic Shield stack, and CLG said, run away, he's going to hit level 2, get out of this one. And we're able to get away from what could have been a dazzle. Smithy looking for a counter jungle onto Santorin, gets the Raptors and says, hi, yeah, no, I took that camp, peace. And Santorin will be sad. The counter jungling did happen to him.
Yeah.
Smithy making his way to the bot side.
Santorin guesses wrong a little bit.
Smithy took that entire bot. I just realized he took like the entire bot.
He started on that side and just completely cleared it. That was his opening play. So technically Santorin can run up and match this, but Xsmithy's going to get a red buff gank into Quas. You could still outplay this.
Yeah, he should know that gets away. Smithy could not find the knockup. Good angle on the leap. He could have been interrupted mid-hop if he went the wrong angle. He did not do so. He played it right. And yeah, now the question is, can they answer all the farm right now? Because Santorin's going to get the jungle.
And Hui's got to actually be very careful right here because they lost control of that top side. Hui should know this.
Oh, nicely played. Yeah, Santorin pops the Ghost. He was already bastioned up by Kiwi Kid, so he could duo the stun in there. And a nice little synergy. Kiwi Kid roams out and kind of buddy stuns with Olaf, forces Hui's flash, and of course they could just go there again. He hasn't gotten ward control for it.
Yeah, I think it's really important that Santorin get off to a good start in this game because if he is able to get a little bit ahead in this game, the augmentation that the rest of the team gives him, like the combination of Taric and Sivir powering up an Olaf, is crazy good.
So CLG realized a little bit late what's going on. They look towards the red buff, say, oh, no, it's already gone. Just kidding. Nothing we can do here. It looks like they were busy getting pushed in by OQ. And you can see NRG, because of their AD carry pick, right? Because the champion they're playing, were able to get enough priority in the lane to let their support roam out, to let their jungler invade and take some buffs away, and it lines up pretty well for them.
Trying to bully as much as possible in that top lane. CLG had shoved pretty substantially, so that's why they roamed into the red buff. They got to be careful, though. Santorin, no ghost.
Another repeat gank is going to be a couple of slows landing. Stun's going to... Oh, he didn't flash it quite right. Kid could not land the dazzle on Aphromoo. And it's a trade of summoners. Actually, advantage CLG's exhaust is also down.
Yeah, I really like the idea from Kiwi Kid to try and flash, but Aphromoo just had such a great angle. A lot of people would flash straight backwards. Kiwi Kid just tried to react, but basically the timing in which Aphromoo flashed away wouldn't have given enough time for Kiwi Kid to react flash in the right timing. Like, Aphromoo played that really well.
And it's another fun point is mind gaming reaction speed. If you do it within a quarter second, you just can't process the information fast enough and click to make your dazzle land. Kiwi Kid tried, didn't happen. And again, a very well-played escape by Aphromoo. And it's going to be, right now, though, a 200, the small gold lead for NRG. They're doing great in the mid lane. They're actually not winning the top lane matchup, this Quas vs Darshan matchup, the solo lanes down there. Darshan actually doing excellently.
Yeah.
Yes, he got a gank early on, but still doing very well in a matchup that was maybe a little bit risky.
He got a gank early on. Quas's jungler and support were on the other side of the map the entire time, so I imagine the team was telling him, like, yo, just don't die. Also, Darshan was able to start in the lane, whereas Quas had to teleport to the lane, so he had to have another level of carefulness if he engages in any big trades. Darshan would be able to reset. So even though the Mininar can be a really good laner early, I think there were a lot of inbuilt advantages that CLG had in that one-on-one lane to give Darshan the ability to get the CS advantage.
The map changing how the one-on-one would play otherwise, nicely done, and yeah, NRG taking the safer road. You know, 200 gold from CS, like, not really going to win you or lose you the game. That's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. And Darshan just getting rid of the minions the best he can. Last hits quite a few of them. As Gangplank's do is going the Bandit Mastery as opposed to Dangerous Game, because if you parlay his face, you get 10 gold for it.
All right.
Darshan might try. Squaw's not going to give him the chance.
Yeah, Gangplank not necessarily a playmaker early, but as he farms up towards the late game, it gives CLG that nice insurance. The amount of damage they're going to be able to put out with a Cassiopeia and a Gangplank is extremely high. Also, trying to do his best to zone Quas off some of these CS.
Plus 190, takes a turret shot back for about half that. And yeah, battling for this farm as best they can right here. 300 gold lead CLG this time around. As there's very large waves left to clear up. We'll see if Santorin can keep the pressure over onto Xmithie. Looking at their individual levels, they're almost identical. Tiny lead for Santorin right now.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting the way the junglers are pathing this game, because both junglers are technically supporting their weaker laner, which is then negating the weakness of that lane. Like, Stixxay and Aphromoo can't get aggressive because there's constantly a Taric and an Olaf roaming around up there.
Right.
And the same is kind of true for Quas versus Darshan.
GBM, though, continues to have pressure on that side. A nice stun's going to land. Darshan did not have oranges up. Pops the ulti, and he's going to clear away some of his minion wave. But, yeah, Darshan's been spamming oranges on cooldown to heal, and Quas, knowing that cooldown was there, just came in and smacked him down. Unlucky.
Third or fourth CS I've actually seen him miss just based on timing.
A lot of it is he's unwilling to parlay the actual minions. He's keeping that cooldown up at all times so you can trade back on the Quas. One of the reasons he's able to do well in this matchup is, look, at all times he can just barrel Q and win the trade against Quas. Be careful, though. He's running out of HP. Darshan, huge mistake. Flash away. Quas doesn't quite land the boomerang. But Xmithie is now here. As long as they play it right, it's a bad situation for Quas. Lands the boomerang, but there's the poison, there's the kill, and there's first blood in for Darshan. The bait is successful.
Yeah, he didn't have the mastery, but that was a dangerous game he was playing right there. Because if he doesn't dodge that Q from Quas, he probably dies. A lot of confidence in himself, though, and Quas does take the bait entirely. Works out for CLG, well played by Darshan.
Wow, all right, so CLG looking pretty good in this one. 600 gold lead for themselves. The minion farm is fluctuating back and forth. OQ and Kiwi Kid actually up sizably. You're seeing plus 15, and now here comes the teleport play. They're all showed up for the top side of the map.
5-man gang.
This is not good for Stixxay and Aphromoo. Exhaust is on. Kiwi Kid pulls dagger over. Now OQ has it, jumps away. Stixxay is dead. Who's next up? It's GBM. He can drop dagger afterwards. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Thank you very much. 2 kills on that one.
Yeah, that's one of those things where CLG would have just had to back away if they wanted any chance of surviving. The jungle pressure that Santorin has had in that top side this whole game, they easily had wards prepped in the right place. GBM was even able to roam up. It's double kill. They're going to probably end up trading turrets because the best CLG could do once they were in that situation with Stix and Aframo being dead is trade the turrets. But overall, that is just a really good move by NRG. Took initiative, they did the 5-man gank, they understood that this wasn't going to be able to be counterplayed. And yeah, they have Olaf up, Quas teleports in. Just for icing on the cake, there's a Vladimir here too, who's ghosted up. They even get the first kill onto OQ, which is ideal. They get the second kill onto GBM, which is great. The 2 carries get the kills. Great 5-man game.
Really, really nicely done. And that's going to tie up the gold right now. You can see this game, outer turret has died on both sides. Darshan got his, and of course the NRG 5-man squad got theirs. So that resource has been tied up here. And we once again have ourselves a very competitive game at 10 minutes here of NRG versus Counter Logic Gaming. And, you know, I think we would have liked to see NRG play this well for more of the split. It's been a pretty rough run for them, but the chance is still there. Keep in mind that NRG right now are 1 match behind Phoenix 1, and that puts them in 9th instead of 8th. There's actually a very important seeding difference on being 9th and being 8th. If you're 8th, you play the winner of Echo Fox versus Team Liquid Academy.
Right.
That's a reasonably easy match for teams of this caliber. If you're 9th, you play Cloud9 Challenger, who is generally speaking a harder team to play against, and makes your road much more difficult. NRG needs to win either against CLG or tomorrow against TSM to have a chance at grabbing 8th away.
That's a lot of damage.
Looking for the flash dive. The heal's not there in time. He takes him out. Petrifying gaze under the turret, and whoops, NRG biting off more than they can chew.
Yeah, and I think in trying to push against CLG to move up in those seeds, they are getting baited a little bit. Like, that was another clear bait by Huhi, and GBM's not quite able to get the kill. Like, both GBM and Quash are thinking, yo, I want to go for the solo kill. This is my opportunity. But they're taking some pretty big risks in doing so, and both of CLG kills have actually just come from baiting GBM. Like, you don't actually see baits work that often in pro play.
Right.
Like, it's usually pretty obvious when someone's putting himself in a bad position. That's like obviously bad, but maybe it's the NRG greed kind of taking over. Both solo laners have fallen for it.
That's going to be the Mountain Drake picked up. Counter Logic Gaming feeling good about this one. 1,200 gold, a nice Drake pickup. And Kiwi Kid wants to stop Darshan's recall, but did he really get baited by a recall? Like, that's a knockup. That's oh, he couldn't chain the barrels. It wasn't close enough together. And yeah, he's going to be all right with this one.
That would be... It's like he flashes forward to stop the recall. Yeah. Kiwi Kid was playing pretty safe there. He had OQ behind him to speed him up with Sivir if that would have been necessary.
Yeah, risk not too great right there. Bot lane pressure is here, and Smithy is waiting in the wings to reinforce his team. He rushed Ninja Tabby, by the way. It's a very physical, damage-heavy NRG squad. Smithy is weeks 2 already.
Yeah, watch this one. The Rek'Sai ult's over. GBM is in between the turret, and X-Men's just like, okay, I will hit you now. But then even now, GBM could run away.
But he thought he had it.
Until Aframo gets there.
And he's going to do the exact same thing in the exact same
Not
place
a replay.
and not get the exact same result. It's Smithy running away, and suddenly the hunters become the hunted. That axe hit him again. Aframu's not going to save this turret, so NRG, this time around, the initiative does work out for them.
Yeah, Hui had burned the flash in the previous escape, and this time Santorin is able to just assist GBM. Should clarify that Aframu had also flanked while that turret dive was happening for GBM, so that was more just straight up greed than anything else from GBM to be between the turret. But now he's a 2-kill Vladimir. That's pretty good.
That is pretty sizable for him. Turret score now 2-2 as they've continued to trade things back and forth. Mid lane outer, of course, NRG picked that up recently. CLG took top lane outer not long ago themselves. And once again, it's NRG trying to make the play first. And guess what? No one is here to defend this turret. Just a cannon barrage, which turns out is not quite no one.
Gangplank's here. He's everywhere.
And it does save the turret, while giving Darshan the ability to shove in the wave. CLG have their dual lane back maybe in time to defend that turret.
Yeah, watch this one more time. He throws out his miasma. No more slow field, and really GBM. I feel like GBM made his own call there, and Santorin's like, please, I can help too. I don't think he even got an assist on the kill.
I didn't see him touch him.
That was a solo kill by GBM.
I can go back and check to make absolutely sure.
Oh, he did get an assist. He has 3 assists on 3 kills.
Right, so yes, that's the answer.
He must have landed an axe before the full dive or something.
He might have smited, that's easy.
Huh? Yep, could be chilling smiter. Smote.
Smote. A ward in the back line. They did not see OQ. And Kiwi Kid has a sweeper, so no ward allowed for you, Counter Logic Gaming. Similar, the think ward goes down. Now we'll see Smithy go for a red buff steal. So again, a very, very tight game right now. GBM happy to play aggressively. It feels like he's gotten some of his swagger back. And Santorin actually...
No, it was who he gets it.
Oh, who he got it. Santorin got 30 gold for killing something else. I think he like docked the ward down or something. I think he like took small parts of the red buff. I just saw gold pop up. You're right. Who he got the red buff. He has it. And now it's some threat on a GBM. Minion wave cleared. Mid lane is down as well. Counter Logic Gaming continues to knock down turrets pretty successfully. They've gotten 3 already. It's been a very aggressive game, actually, of teams looking for structures to kill off.
Yeah, favor to map pressure, and Darshan's also getting very far ahead of Quas. So even if this game stays relatively close in gold, like the Cassiopeia and Darshan and Darshan's Gangplank seem like they're going to be doing pretty well in team fights.
Yeah.
Overall,
Force is done.
Overall, though, with like the Terra and Sivir, it could equalize when they're getting super late games. So not that CLG should be playing with a lack of urgency, but they definitely do have good scaling.
Yes.
If they can't make plays now, they still have the opportunity to make them later.
They're certainly not an obvious winner at a 60-minute team fight, so that's it. One easy way to put it. Bottom lane, priority was to CLG, though that was sent to the bottom tier 2 turret. Flash engage again. GVM really likes fighting Hoofy. Just look at the damage up what he's got. Nice dive, petrifying gaze. Here comes Santorin. This time it's not an assist. He gets the kill, chops the axe down, and here's the re-engage in the mid lane. Look at all the damage of it coming across. Darshan tries to kill out Santorin. He does so, and Smithy now to re-engage. GVM can heal right now. Too much health back. Smithy should not be in this fight anymore. Tunnels away to his Raptor Pit. That is a 1-for-1 mid laner and jungler trading lives.
Yeah, super close fight, and GBM, call it greed or something else, he's going for it.
Yeah.
And he was successful in this one to get another kill onto Hui. The really quick turnaback when Hui tried to get the petrifying gaze was beautiful from GBM in that duel.
Where was this GBM all split? Like, why hasn't NRG just looked this great? Because I know CLG is playing reasonably well, NRG actually playing great themselves. It's just unfortunate for them that they're 4-12 heading into this, but
yeah.
If this is the form that they're in, this bodes well for their chances of staying in the spring split.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest to answer questions for GBM in particular, because he was in the upper echelon of Korean mid laners and then comes to North America, and statistically he's near the bottom.
Yeah.
And that's not to say he hasn't had some great standout performances.
Right.
But he's also had some massive duds. So I think a lot of it is inconsistency. A lot of it is just champion matchups and tools. Like, I also don't think he gives his opponent that much respect. Like, he plays so loose that sometimes that allows him to make the big plays, but more often than not this year, he's been punished for it. Even though this game, it's working out.
It's looking like Quas is in a bad spot. It's going to land the slow, going to land the knockup, and Quas is out of ways to get out of this fight, so he's going to drop down. CLG get the 4th kill of the game. It will be an equal trade of tier 2 turrets on opposite sides of the map, but it's +1 kill for Quas, not realizing he was in this much danger. A nice gank by Xfinity to get around behind him, land the smite, land the knockup. 3 assists for him, but now he's got to respect the fact that NRG's coming around. He was a bit late to the party, but he's okay.
Yeah, they shift over to mid lane to try and get that one, while CLG is actually pressuring the inhibitor turret. Gangplank has a global. They can actually hold this turret pretty well, maybe even keep the
Stop
alive.
the recalls, backdoor bonus is
down.
on. Inhibitor turret goes down, inhibitor itself, and this is CLG defending 2 versus 4, by the way. They're not losing much of anything. Quas going to try to keep the inhib alive. He won't.
To get the Vladimir ultimate out in retreat, it's just Quas respawning, but I don't think he can save this. Maybe they kill him again.
There's some risk there. Six doesn't want to fight the champion, though. He wants to kill off the inhibitor and get out. He knows the rest of NRG are collapsing, and in fact, they are. If they play it right, NRG can grab 3 kills for this. Quas is going to kill Afromu. He's got the Frozen Mallet, gets the Summoner heal, Naka comes back in, now he's Mega Gnar, here comes Kiwi Kid, the re-engage GBM wants Darshan, he's probably going to get him, yes he does, nicely done, a re-engage by Hui coming in to try to kill him back off, but looks like GBM has managed to escape the escape the Cassiopeia on the Vladimir.
Wow.
A 1-for-0 to NRG, CLG able to slink away, still of course advantage to them.
Yeah, the fact that they're able to kill so many turrets is a temporary advantage, but the permanence of this advantage I actually think isn't necessarily known, because it's such an early inhibitor trade, and unless they can take more turrets off of that pressure, they're actually just going to be forfeiting a lane of farm right there. As this collapse was happening, Darshan was looking to stop GBM and Oki, but they turned it around on him, and we end up getting fight. Oki doesn't want to chase through the miasma, but GBM doesn't care. He just goes right through, kills Darshan, and then even though Hui flashed, the poison had wore off, so it did not enough, and he can just run away with his ghost.
Abyssal Scepter, gotta feel good for GBM. The Magic's just a big deal. Counter Logic Gaming able to reset faster, though, despite losing a champion most recently, and they've picked up Cloud Drake for themselves. Out of combat movement speed and the bonus damage to turrets thanks to the Mountain Drake. You imagine if NRG had had that Drake, that mid turret would have probably fallen. Mid tier 2 is very, very low, so those Drakes actually coming into play right here because of how tight the inhibitor kill even was for CLG, but now they've got the rotation speed and the building killing speed. KiWiKid has to run away from Smithy. Does so cleanly enough. CLG trying to pressure the rest of the map down to the bot side.
And you can tell CLG has a sense of urgency right now. With the way GBM is popping off in this game, going 3-1 so far, and with the down inhibitor, CLG immediately needs to create pressure on the other side of the map. I think NRG is relatively well prepared for this, however, because Quas could teleport in and he's shoved out the super minions.
Poison's in to zone out some of the engage. Here comes Olaf on the backside. Active plan just yet, but he's going to run in, pick it up, and find something else to kill. Loses half the health bar. Now Darshan is joining the squad. Quas is Meganar right now in the top lane, feeling good.
That feels like a big miss from NRG right there, burning the Sivir ultimate and not hard engaging. Santorin didn't have his Ghost Step yet. I thought that was going to be a teleport and a big play, but now they're backing away. By the time the teleport come in, he'd be mini-knocked.
Nice three-man barrel's going to land for some poke. Fuhi's Miasma helps a little as well. And that's going to be, Meganar timing out. Sadly for NRG, they had no deep ward, so there were no flanks Quas could have gone to. So maybe if they didn't want to TP into the front and make it obvious, and they decided, well, Sivir ult's down, that's too bad. Let's not, fall into the sunk cost fallacy. It's already burned.
Sense of urgency is very real, though. That's 4 or 5 waves that Quas has been able to clear in the top lane, and that is farm that CLG is just not getting. So they have to get a turret off this to prevent a negative trade.
Here comes the flash engage. Fuhi's low does not land back to the petrifying gaze. He goes down. Santorin's got a shield. He's got a lot to do with this one. Darshan getting chunked out, has to run. A nice Manta shield buys some time, but Stixay's got to run away from this one. A big chunk of damage down onto CLG as they continue to retreat. Stixay's so low. A big barrel chain comes across. Will there be a CLG re-engage? Well, if there is, it's not going to work out. Oki picks up another one. Quas now on the chase with Frozen Mallet. Throws in the stairs. A double kill now as Rek'Sai falls and the barrel chain only serves to keep Darshan alive. That is a 3-for-1 advantage. NRG, they finally found the fight they wanted.
Yeah, not only does CLG not get the turret to punish Quas for being top lane for so long, they also lose the fight, and that is disaster for CLG, actually. The inhibitor take is actually, in my opinion, punished here because of the urgency that CLG had to have. Fuhi gets completely blasted at the start of this fight. Santorin is able to run in and still do a bunch of damage, and GBM gets a ton off here. The barrel chain is the only thing that salvages this slightly for CLG as Darshan comboed a bunch of damage, but they still lose the fight and arguably are beginning to fall behind in the game despite having the 2 Drakes, just because of the way these fights are going.
Yeah, some miscoordination this time on CLG's side, and the game is equal in gold right now. CLG up that 1 turret, that's nice for them, but you can see the farm and the kills making NRG feel pretty good about this one. That's even with the free money that Gangplank prints from his Q and from Bandit and everything. So keep in mind, this is actually a team playing very well the side of NRG. Darshan just now has 500 Silver Serpents. He can just now get his upgrade, and actually, I guess Bandit, or the Q gold is different from the Silver Serpent's gain, so I take that back. Either way, you can see Quas trying to hold the top lane, CLG looking at Baron.
This shows you how long inhibitors are down for. CLG baiting Baron because of the Mountain Drake. Cassiopeia with the Mountain Drake can kill it extremely fast. You hear the call out, the inhibitor will be up shortly. CLG would love to control this area and take the Baron, but they have to be super fearful of Sivir, Taric, Olaf, and Vladimir just running into the Baron pit and killing them all.
Finally, Blue and Hib back up. That means that top lane wave cresting the side of the map is a regular wave coming down there, so that's the limit of the crazy stuff. NRG can let Quas rejoin the team. His teleport is down, and CLG know that, and they try to use this to their advantage. Darshan has his own teleport, so now CLG can play the bot side of the map. Quas has to be very afraid of doing this himself, and Baron baits are going to be a real thing.
Yeah, Darshan has teleport, Quas doesn't, but CLG doesn't necessarily have a great way of initiating onto NRG. You look at their overall team composition.
Right, it's very passive.
Yeah, they kind of have to bait and just run away.
Well,
but they haven't been able to run away.
Hopefully they can throw their Pokeball, get their next Cloud Drake picked up, because that's kind of the goal right now is, stack one of these neutral objectives. Here comes the engage, here comes the Taric ulti as well, only tags a couple, GBM's invincible. There's a stun on a Who, he taking a lot of punishment, has a flash, he will stay alive, Santorin has a kite right back out. KiWiKid on a half HP on top of this one. Darshan gets a couple of barrels across, but here comes the damage up with the ricochet is there. Who, he's almost dead. Quick zonies by GBM. The re-engage on him. They pick him up with a barrel. Nicely done. CLG get one. The re-engage on OQ. Stixxay over chases, though. And OQ takes him out just like in the last team fight. Now another barrel going to come in. 400 damage on a Santorin. CLG can walk away. Bot lane tier 2 is available to them if they want to make that play. But Energy push mid.
Yeah, that was great kiting in that fight to a point until Stixxay had gone too far, and now they are pole position for Energy to be able to take this mid lane turret.
Dead. They finally get the rest of what they had done so long ago, and the turret score is now 5-5, and despite losing, in quotes, a team fight, Energy now up 800 gold. And Stixxay, of course, had died as well, so those kills did go equal because of his overextension, and that's really nice. Energy really keeping this one close. A win here, if they can take the match, would tie them with Phoenix 1 in the standings, and I believe they own the tiebreaker because of game record. And it would acquire quite a bit. The dive on Aquas, these going to be the barrels, it's going to be the smack, going to be the red, and that's going to be the kill picked up. Nice fire set to him by Darshan. Now the retreat. Sivir is here, and it's going to be scary. A nice slow and a GBM. Axe not going to land.
Goodness.
Crucially important. Darshan probably would have died if the undertow had hit. The Ghost was down for Santorin and GBM. No further chase. A nice pickup for CLG. Gives map control and probably a Cloud Drake.
Yeah, and that's the type of playmaking that Darshan needs to make if CLG wants to win this game, because it seems like the teamfight cohesion from Energy's composition is just stronger. With the way Sivir, Taric, Olaf, and Vlad can just kind of run in, and CLG has to try and absorb, but then a split push decision is made. Darshan's able to get a kill. Darshan had already given up a lot of his advantage. Like, he had a much bigger advantage early on in the game.
Yeah.
But that kill leads to another Cloud Drake. Keeps him in the game.
Definitely does. We'll see what else Canalog Gaming can do around this Gangplank, because CLG are by some metrics losing this game. Yes, they have the buffs. Those are nice, but they don't matter once you're in a pitched 5-on-5. Something you have to consider for yourselves. We'll see if CLG can play the rotation game. Of course, they've got 50 bonus out of combat movement speed. Like, they can get in and out of things pretty easily. Sivir ulti almost just like ties what Cloud Drake does at this point. It's an exaggeration, but it's not terribly far from the truth.
I mean, you and I are casting a game, and we haven't even mentioned Cloud Drake yet. How crazy is that?
There's a lot of movement speed, though. Like,
did you know it's really better than 3 of the previous Cloud Drakes?
Thanks, chat. I did know that.
No, but it actually is somewhat important in this matchup to have that out of common move speed. Not as crazy as you would think, though, just because Energy has so much more with the Ghosts and the Sivir that can run them down. This is a very dangerous Baron, though, for Energy.
And this Energy taking it without any Drakes themselves. Of course, they don't have that mountain damage output here. CLG coming around. Here's the Sivir ulti in. They're looking for the play. A big Taric ult, and who's going to be caught? It's Xmithie who gets the wrong way, and it's just Santorin throwing axe after axe after axe. Xmithie getting worn down. Afro there for the shield. Another undertow lands, and CLG's got to get away from this one. Barrel's going to slow Kiwi Kim. There's a stun on Xmithie, a great petrifying gaze, and it should still be the kill on to maybe. Yes, it will. Nice pickup. OQ unstoppable, having a good game for himself as well to be a great carry alongside GBM. Yet again, Energy winning a 5-on-5.
CLG looks like they're doing amazing things when they're kiting back, but they're actually not doing any damage while they're running away, so you can only run away for so long.
Yeah.
Huhi's now dead, and Energy is going to probably just try and pull this off again. They chased for so long. Sivir ulti's already 2/3 back.
It is already almost back. This is going to be a scary thing now. GBM on a flank. This is maybe risky on either side. You never know how it's going to play out. Barrel's not going to chain together. Nice last hitting by GBM. Here comes the attack onto him, but he's going to heal himself. 16.5 HP. He's got to run away. Huhi back up in 4 seconds. Can run back from the base. Energy looking pretty good here.
GBM and Quas have been really good at killing Darshan's barrels.
Yes.
That's one thing I want to point out. Like, they're timing that just right. Or Darshan is a little bit slow on the timing, but the outcome is that the barrels are usually dying.
Right, and the funny thing is, like, really, really good Gangplanks, you never even see the health bar hit 1.
Yeah.
It literally goes from 2 to the bullet lands, like, the frame after it turns into 1, and, right, I mean, every Gangplank player has played Gangplank more than everyone else has played against Gangplank, right? So, like, they have hundreds of games of learning this timing to actually frame perfect accuracy, which changes based on how much you've moved. It's one of the most intricate timing details in League of Legends that some of these players are ridiculously good at, and then even still some players can outplay it.
And quietly, while GBM has been being such a distraction, OQ is 5-0, and also has kind of reached critical mass on Sivir here with the 70% crit build to get the ricochets going through, making it harder and harder for CLG to teamfight this. You do have to remember, though, this is CLG. They were down 4 Drakes and 10,000 gold against Team Liquid last week, and then just got a 5-for-0 teamfight win. So you can never count them out in late game teamfights if they can get the right start. In this game, the right start would be a good Cassiopeia ultimate or some good barrel chains.
Here comes the attempt. It's going to be the Vladimir Hemobleg across. He's got to run away, but now he's separated from his team. His flash is down. He's going to get just attacked and assaulted and taken out right here. Nothing to do but die. GBM has slain Huhi. And again, NRG winning the team fight, taking map control. But the thing is, they're trading resources back and forth. The gold stays equal. The question is, what can NRG even do with the power play?
Yeah, they have no Mountain Drake, and this team doesn't kill Baron exceptionally fast. They're just going to look to get kill after kill and maybe pick them off one by one. Might
just get it expected at a half HP, but a barrel chain knocks down GBM a fair bit. The re-engage towards Kwasi hops the wall, 5v4, 18 seconds on Huhi's Cassiopeia, and NRG down to half HP on all fronts here. They are injured.
No ultimates up for them. This is a little bit risky, depending on how much poke they can take. If a barrel chain goes in here, NRG would be dead.
Damage. Now, NRG has to be careful to not die on this one, but Darshan doesn't have enough barrels to really chain people down. He's going to be okay. Yeah, NRG disengaged, but this is all they're really getting. They're getting 1 kill and then nothing else because of how much CLG can kite. Like, when Royalty's down, CLG has 50 more move speed than you. You will not catch them again. They can choose to dictate when you fight. Lo and behold, their situation.
Out of combat move speed has been fairly useful. Karma definitely assists that as well in trying to counter the Sivir move speed, but eventually, CLG will have to fight back. Like, they are just running away right now and maybe trying to get these Drakes as their win condition. 3rd Cloud Drake would be coming through. If NRG can control this, that's huge.
Yeah.
As far as their initiation goes, because that takes the delta from 50 to 25 as far as out of combat move speed bonus.
And it actually makes the delta even better. Something that people love to talk about is the diminishing returns on movement speed, which is one of these people didn't like Cloud Drake before is if you're plus 50 move speed, you're really like probably plus 40 move speed. You're losing roughly 20%. Plus 25, you might get the whole 25 out of it.
Yes.
Like you might cut the difference to 15 from 40, which is you know percentage-wise obviously a bigger cut in this one, and that might be something that happens here for NRG. But CLG gonna hope to get it for themselves, of course.
Yeah. So the prep for this would mean that NRG should just be basically in the Dragon Pit, because that way they can chase out of it, and they're the stronger team fight. But they're not there yet, and they're actually taking poke from CLG.
GBM in half. The gameplay goal to cut him down as well. Here comes the attempted engage. GBM gonna turn invincible. He's got nothing to do to himself now. Putting into the back line. Pops and Zonia still won't go down, and the kill comes to Huhi. Stixxay's gonna be next. A double kill for Santorin, and it's 650. Forced to run away. GBM heals again. This will be a 3-4-0, and whether you can run or not, it feels like NRG can catch up to you. And they have gotten several more kills, lots of map control. Anything they want is probably theirs.
And that is a hard combo to deal with as well. The Taric ultimate onto a ghosting Vladimir, who then uses Zonia's after the Taric ult runs out.
Yeah.
Boy, Huhi just has no way of surviving through this, it feels. And because of the 3 kills, NRG turn for Baron.
So many good synergies. I love the fact that you can Sanguine Pool into Taric ulti and guarantee you can't take damage ever. Aftermoon tried to steal. He's not going to get it. Flashes away from Quas. That was his payment for this. Darshan should be able to take the Cloud Drake reasonably well. Does plenty of damage, but this will at least be a Baron buff against triple Cloud Drake CLG. So they are quick. They are certainly fast, but the problem is they can't win 5-on-5s.
No, and especially in this one, they had forfeited their out-of-combat move speed by trying part of the engage. So when NRG actually did try and fight, there were no bonuses for CLG to be able to run away with. That means Taric ultimate comes down during the Sanguine Pool, so when he comes out of it, he can't take damage. When he can't take damage anymore, he goes back into stasis, and then, you know what? Now he can just kill you, because it's been so long, and the rest of the team is fighting there. So it's so difficult to fight this team.
Yeah, one of the big deals is the fact that NRG kills someone in the 2.5 seconds of invulnerability. Like, CLG had chunked NRG down very, very low. That's why they put the GP ulti down to chase through it. And he says, all right, screw it, go back in, be invincible. Okay, Huhi's dead before anyone can get damage. I guess it's 5v4 now.
And this is actually very important. Even if CLG were able to win this series after losing this game, like, the things that will let CLG get third will be potentially tiebreakers that might come down to game score.
Right.
So they need to be as clean as possible in 4-0 this week if they want to get third place or to maximize their chance of getting third. Dropping a game here is very punishing for CLG in their quest for third place.
Yeah, keep in mind, Cloud9 are 1 match ahead of CLG. The best CLG could do if they lose this match is go to a tiebreaker, which depends, again, as you said, on game score. And that's if C9 loses all their matches, which is increasingly unlikely as they're a solid team. Barrel chain, nice spell shield by OQ, top lane under pressure, of course. And a siege like this, of course, Cloud Drake is entirely useless for CLG, and you almost wish it were Infernal or Ocean at that point, but it's not going to be the case. So, turret getting whittled down, NRG playing without taking any Drakes this entire series, and looking good on this one. That's going to be the cannon minion going down. Pressure once again on this one. Is this going to be the takedown of the turret, the dive into the back line? GBM once again wants to get these kills. Kiwi going to join in as well. They're all invincible, and Huhi just going to die under his turret. Nothing can stop them. Santorin on a rampage, literally and figuratively, as Stixay running out of health. Can't stop the inhibitor from going down. Another 5v4, and that's going to be the chase down. OQ with another flash forward, his third of the game, I think, and gets another kill picked up. 6-0 and 7 onto him. Here comes the chase in for the Nexus itself, and NRG making work of counter logic gaming in this second game of the series. A quick Gnar into the wall, looking for the stuns, looking for the kills, looking for the game-winning fight. A nice chain comes through. Xmithie, wow! That's going to be Tides of Blood taking the Tides of the game over. NRG gonna take out game 2. Well played by them. They drafted for team fighting, they won them, and they've tied up the series.
Yeah, and that was a very strong team fighting energy. Even if they didn't have the cleanest communication in game 1, they had the inbuilt champion synergies in the next one, and they were able to survive the laning phase. They were able to take advantage of the melee support Taric there, like the stuff Kiwi Kid was augmenting for GBM there really made him unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that GBM could ghost in, be in a pool of blood while the Taric ultimate was activating, pop up, and then be invulnerable, like,
what do you do?
Like, there's actually not that much counterplay there outside from run away, and guess what? They have Sivir. They're running faster than you. Like, it was such a nice composition, and CLG was unable to prevent those team fights from happening, because that's what CLG has been able to do in the past against like team fighting compositions, is they disengage well enough, or they have enough threats on other sides of the map to make it so team fights can never happen. But time and time again, NRG was able to group up as 4 or 5 people and just brute force through CLG with that beautiful team fighting comp.
They just hit the go button and went for it, right? Lucidity boots on both their ghost users, so that cooldown's like 2 minutes. Like, that's up all the time. You can constantly dive into the backline. Every time Sivir ulti's there, you go for it. CLG had the chance to draft Gragas. They didn't. Of course, it's not great into Olaf, but you know, maybe that would have knocked the Vladimir away and made him look a little bit better. Didn't happen, though, and a great win by NRG Esports. So we are going to be going to a game 3, but now to break that game down, let's check in with the analysts.
Go ahead and stack up against the rest. Now, as I'm speaking about this Team Liquid victory, our NALCS1 viewers who just watched CLG, or rather NRG, pick up a win against CLG to extend that series to 3 games as well. We're currently breaking down Team Liquid's victory over Apex, so we're going to finish this one off before jumping back over to that. But both series going to 3 games. So starting here with Team Liquid Apex, the big things that we notice, of course, Taric getting picked up, seeing more and more play here in the North American LCS. Love to see that. The rest of the picks, though, pretty standard, barring maybe Ezreal is just outside of the ADC meta.
Right, and I think that's one of the few parts that are a little bit of a question mark. I don't think the Cassio first pick made a lot of sense either. Phoenix is clearly fine playing either side of Cassio Vlad. I don't think the priority on it was necessary. They're trying to get Keen off of it, but he looked fine on Victor, so I don't think that was worth it. And then they picked a bad bot lane, basically.
I think the key here is also the Nidalee. Both Game 1 and Game 2, Nidalee seems to have a high priority for these teams, but unfortunately, don't think they know how to play it very well because it's a champion that you really have to snowball in the laning phase, and you have to have that relentless aggression, and they just aren't able to put the pedal to the metal quick enough, and then they just get outscaled because you're not pushing hard enough, and then surprise, 5v5, wombo, you lose.
Now, we got a lot to sort through, so let's go ahead and take a look at some fights. Starting off 10 minutes into the game, in the bot lane, Apex is going to pick up 3-0 off of a Team Liquid failed game.
Right, Team Liquid are going to get pushed in and getting bullied all early game, and this is the first big move they tried to make, but they're not able to get Xpecial down at all thanks to the ult from Taric. And then once Lorlo comes in, Shen's in here, and the whole team's collapsing, there's just so much defensive options for Apex that they can't kill anyone, and then they're able to come in and turn it with Keen. And it ends up being a 3-0 for Apex, which was the first big play that Team Liquid tried to make. And they were actually in a lot of trouble after this play, but they actually had some good macro plays to start trading turrets effectively and stall out the game.
And so funnily enough, game 1 of this series, Team Liquid got ahead. Apex found some ways to get back into it. This is the exact opposite of that. Apex getting out to a quick early lead. Team Liquid finding ways to get back into it.
People are going to try to put themselves in the hole and see if they can win after that.
Right, really, it's just
a learning experience.
Of
course.
Learning, yeah, exactly. Well,
That's
20 minutes into the game, I want to push us forward. 5-man ace here for Team Liquid in the bot lane, 5 for 3 overall.
And this fight's going to obviously start off with the Shen ultimate, really crucial here, and a nice little taunt flash from Ray. He's going to secure map, but he's going to dash away. And they're overcommitting, they're chasing really hard for this, they really want the kill, and Keen is going to get out by the skin of his teeth with the Cassiopeia ult misses, but Liquid's just going to push so far. They're bloodthirsty, they really want these kills, and they have Mega Gnar coming up. But if you notice here, Apollo and X Special, they still have Flash, so they can easily get out of the situation.
But they don't use it.
A Flash Lorelo ult is enough, and they just get cleaned up.
Yeah, and there's a number of things like that where it seems like they weren't super comfortable mechanically in some of these fights. Like there, the Shen goes really hard onto the Cassio as opposed to maybe trying to use his W defensively to protect the people the Gnar is engaging on. There's a couple question marks where it didn't look 100% like they knew how to play their comp, and I think it showed in a number of fights.
Yeah, very much. More experienced players and more mechanically proficient players in that same situation may have come out on top on the side of Apex. Our final replay, 24-20 into the game. Team Liquid 3 for 0 plus Baron.
Phoenix just dodges everything at the start of this. He took like 100 damage from an Ashe falling, that's it. In the meantime, he just kills Apollo straight up. Shrimp was receiving the ult from Tarek as opposed to the Apollo. Shrimp didn't walk the ult over. Ultimately, it didn't matter because Apollo dropped right away, but it's still showing that they're not 100% comfortable with these champions, seemingly. And from there, it's an easy fight once the AD carries
If
down.
Volley could miss, I think it would have.
Yeah, luckily it's like 120 degrees or something.
Man, it's just kind of disheartening with that kind of skill shot comp that it's just not really what I'm feeling for.
You got to be on point. If you're going to pick compositions like that, then you got to play them to the fullest extent.
I mean, we had the Sivir game one much easier. You just press
Hecarim
R
as well.
Yeah, Sivir Hecarim. You don't really have to think about
Right, so
it.
maybe they'll go back to that. Lorelo, though, going to pick up player of the game, 615 on Gnar. We saw the usefulness of those ults. Now, although maybe Apex could have played that fight a little bit better, he still had the flash initiate, gets them the advantage in that ace in the bot lane.
Well, he did really well being able to exploit the advantages of Gnar into Shen, because that's a matchup that you pick that you want Gnar to just permanently push. You want to put pressure in that non-stop, and he was able to even get a solo kill onto Ray, which just opens up the map for Liquid, and he did a fantastic job of doing that.
All right, well, now I want to switch gears over to the NRG CLG series, in which NRG was able to take the game off of CLG, so extending it to 3, where we would have thought that CLG should have full control of this matchup, even more skewed than Team Liquid versus Apex would be the matchup here between CLG and NRG. Now, primarily, we see that Olaf's Sivir composition come through from NRG, a very clean, easy,
with a
style
Vlad
to play.
as well.
But
exactly.
I mean, on the contrast, you have the abstract art with this competition for CLG. Like, what is
The Picasso of team comps.
what do you really do here with the GP? Because GP is a champ that you want characters around you that create a lot of space, front lines, but you have Lucian, Rek'Sai, and Karma with Cassiopeia. So there's absolutely, you're going to get Dove nonstop, and that's exactly what the NRG comp does.
Yes, exactly. So they're going to get Dove nonstop. 9 minutes into the game, we have a dive.
Yeah.
2 for 0, NRG 5-man turret dive into the top lane.
And this was pretty well executed. It's right after Quas had been killed. It doesn't even bother going back to lane. He just ends up TPing behind here. And 6A and Afro are just dead in the water. They get right behind him. You see that sprint comp just basically just run at them, drop all your damage. And then they're able to start getting the turrets. And this was actually a really important play for them because GP was winning the Gnar matchup. It's a matchup that's not that bad for GP. You're basically looking to farm, though, and go even. But he had like a 20 CS lead. They were able to bait
massive CS lead.
Right.
Like 120 to 80 at one point.
Yeah, it was huge. So the fact that top lane was going that bad, it was really important for NRG to be able to get these kills and stay even.
Yeah, exactly that. So moving ahead, more gameplay, more fights, 31-30 into the game, 3 for 0 in the mid lane for NRG, plus the Baron. The Baron's going to be what they need to close this game out.
And it's just the whole point of the compositions here. Like, what are you supposed to engage as CLG? You're just waiting for NRG to basically pull the trigger, and as soon as the Gangplank ulti drops, Vlad can just go. That's an invulnerable Vlad. Like, this
So
guy is
disgusting.
not taking damage, so he just runs past, has so much invulnerability, and just the medium range from CLG is just unable to really do significant damage to just the mega tanks of Tarek, Olaf, and Vlad.
It's a comp that like you can kind of say makes a little bit of sense.
No.
where
No.
That is
Hey, just like that art, Picasso makes a little bit of sense.
That's not a sentence that inspires confidence.
Well, like it kites very well, and they have a very run-at-you comp. So like they'll kite into GP barrels
Yeah.
and Cassio damage, and Karma will speed them. But at the
You
end of the
sound
day,
like the argument that somebody got caught. It's like, but it's not really that bad.
yeah, it kind of works. But at the end of the day, if that comp is running at you and you're not able to burn them down, you're going to get destroyed. And that's what happened in a number of these fights.
Yeah, GP eclipsing the damage charts there, but not quite enough. I mean, I'm with you in that. If I have to rationalize the composition, it is a kite back,
The other team's going to run it. You know they're going to run at you. It's a Vlad and an Olaf, but at the end of the day, if you can't kill them because they're Taric ulted, what are you kiting from? They're just getting, free damage in on you. So I think the Taric pick was pretty clutch.
Well, GBM picks up player of the game, although the Taric was key in terms of champion select and compositionally. GBM played these fights extraordinarily well with that Taric ult and the Zhonya's, keeping himself alive for quite some time.
His performance is a really nice reminder of his game, I believe week 1 Vlad game against Envy, where he had a really strong showing on Vlad, when we're kind of wondering, is Vlad really that OP? Yes, it's been 9 weeks of Vladimir.
Yep, it's a strong champ. Yeah, still very much a strong champion. Well, both of our early series are heading into deciding game 3s. We're heading into a program break, but join us on the other side where CLG, NRG, Apex, and Liquid all retake to the stage in just 3.5 minutes.
You've got the scariest Olaf comp you can maybe even consider at this point.
Excited nonetheless to watch Kiwi and Noki go up against Stixxay and Afterman.
Big chunk of damage down on a CLG as they continue to retreat. Stixxay so low. A big barrel chain comes across. Will there be a CLG re-engage? Well, if there is, it's not going to work out.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. Patch your flash.
Okay. Lucian. Okay, nice.
They're all invincible, and Huhi is going to die under his turret. Nothing can stop them. Santorin on a rampage, literally and figuratively. A nice chain comes through. Smithy. Wow! That's going to be Tides of Blood taking the tides of the game.
That was a very strong team fighting energy